Yahusha. 10. And it came to be, when Adoni-Tzedek, king of Jerusalem, heard that Yahusha had captured Ai and had put it under the ban, that he had done to Ai and its king as he had done to Jericho and its king, and that the inhabitants of Gibeon had made peace with Yisharal and were in their midst, that they feared greatly, because Gibeon was a great city, as one of the royal cities, and because it was greater than Ai, and all its men were mighty. And Adoni-Tzedek, king of Jerusalem, sent to Hoham, king of Hebron, and to Piram, king of Yarmouth, and to Japhia, king of Lachish, and to Debir, king of Eglon, saying, Come up to me and help me, and let us smite Gibeon, for it has made peace with Yahusha and with the children of Yisharal. So the 5 kings of the Amorites, the king of Jerusalem, the king of Hebron, the king of Yarmouth, the king of Lachish, the king of Eglon, gathered together and went up, they and all their armies, and camped before Gibeon and fought against it. And the men of Gibeon sent to Yahusha at the camp at Gilgal, saying, Do not withdraw your hand from your servants. Come up to us quickly, and save us, and help us. For all the kings of the Amorites who dwell in the mountains have assembled against us. And Yahusha went up from Gilgal, he and all the soldiers with him, and all the mighty brave men. And Yahuah said to Yahusha, Do not fear them, for I have given them into your hand. Not one of them does stand before you. So then Yahusha came upon them suddenly, having gone up all Lila from Gilgal. And Yahuah threw them into confusion before Yisharal, and they smote them with a great slaughter at Gibeon, and pursued them along the way that goes to Beit Coron, and smote them as far as Azekah and Makkedah. And it came to be, as they fled before Yisharal, and were on the descent of Beit Coron, that Yahuah threw down large hailstones from the Shemayim on them as far as Azekah, and they died. There were more who died from the hailstones than those whom the sons of Yisharal had slain with the sword. Then Yahusha spoke to Yahuah in the day, when Yahuah gave the Amorites over to the children of Yisharal. And he said before the eyes of Yisharal, Sun, stand still over Gibeon, and moon, in the valley of Ayalon. So the sun stood still, and the moon stopped, till the nation avenged itself upon their enemies. Is this not written in the book of Yashar? Thus the sun stopped in the midst of the Shamayim, and did not hasten to go down for an entire yom. And there has been no yom like that, before it or after it, that Yahuah listened to the voice of a man, because Yahuah fought for Yisharal. So Yahusha returned, and all Yisharal with him, to the camp at Gilgal. Now these 5 kings had fled and hidden themselves in a cave at Makkedah. And it was reported to Yahusha, saying, The 5 kings have been found hidden in the cave at Makkedah. And Yahusha said, Roll large stones against the mouth of the cave, and set men by it to guard them. And you, do not stand still, but pursue your enemies. And you shall smite them in the rear. Do not allow them to enter their cities, for Yahuah, your Elohim, has given them into your hand. And it came to be, when Yahusha and the children of Yisharal had ended smiting them with a very great slaughter, till they had finished. But those who escaped went into walled cities, that all the people returned to the camp, to Yahusha at Makkedah, in peace. No one moved his tongue against any of the sons of Yisharal. Then Yahusha said, Open the mouth of the cave, and bring out those 5 kings to me from the cave. And they did so, and brought those 5 kings to him from the cave, the king of Jerusalem, the king of Hebron, the king of Yarmouth, the king of Lachish, the king of Eglon. And it came to be, when they brought out those kings to Yahusha, that Yahusha called for all the men of Yisharal, and said to the chiefs of the men of battle who went with him, "Come near, put your feet on the necks of these kings." And they drew near and put their feet on their necks. Then Yahushua said to them, "Do not be afraid nor be discouraged. Be strong and courageous, for this is what Yahuah is going to do to all your enemies whom you are fighting." And afterward Yahushua smote them and killed them, and hanged them on 5 trees. And they were hanging on the trees until evening. And it came to be, at the time of the going down of the sun, that Yahushua commanded, and they took them down from the trees, and threw them into the cave where they had been hidden, and laid large stones against the cave's mouth to this yom. And on that yom Yahushua captured Makkedah, and he smote it with the edge of the sword, and he put its king under the ban, them and all the people who were in it. He left no survivor. And he did to the king of Makkedah as he had done to the king of Jericho. Then Yahushua passed over, and all Yisrael with him, from Makkedah to Libnah. And they fought against Libnah. And Yahuah also gave it and its king into the hand of Yisrael. And he smote it, and all the people who were in it with the edge of the sword. He left no survivor in it. And he did to its king as he had done to the king of Jericho. Then Yahushua passed over, and all Yisrael with him, from Libnah to Lachish, and encamped against it, and fought against it. And Yahuah gave Lachish into the hand of Yisrael, who captured it on the 2nd yom, and smote it and all the people who were in it with the edge of the sword, according to all that he had done to Libnah. Then Horam king of Gezer came up to help Lachish, and Yahushua smote him and his people until he left him no survivor. Then Yahushua passed over, and all Yisrael with him, from Lachish to Eglon, and they encamped against it and fought against it, and captured it on that yom, and smote it with the edge of the sword. And all the beings who were in it he put under the ban that day, according to all that he had done to Lachish. Then Yahushua went up, and all Yisrael with him, from Eglon to Kibron, and they fought against it, and captured it, and smote it with the edge of the sword, and its king, and all its cities, and all the people who were in it. He left no survivor, according to all that he had done to Eglon, but put it, and all the people who were in it, under the ban. Then Yahushua returned, and all Yisrael with him, to Debir, and fought against it, and captured it, and its king, and all its cities. And they smote them with the edge of the sword, and put all the people who were in it under the ban. He left no survivor. As he had done to Kebron, so he did to Debir and its king, as he had done also to Libnah and its king. Thus Yahushua smote all the land, the mountain country and the south and the low country and the wilderness slopes, and all their kings. He left no survivor, but put all that breathed under the ban, as Yahuah Elohim of Yisrael had commanded. And Yahushua smote them from Kadesh Barnea as far as Azah, and all the land of Goshen, even as far as Gibeon. And Yahushua captured all these kings and their land at one time, because Yahuah Elohim of Yisrael fought for Yisrael. And Yahushua returned, and all Yisrael with him, to the camp at Gilgal.